Hello all, and welcome back to Time to Dice Character Creation, where we make your favorite fictional characters in Pathfinder and Starfinder 2nd Edition. Today, we're making the infamous Eddie Brock and his symbiote, Venom. Eddie was your run-of-the-mill star journalist, until a couple of bad life decisions led to him losing his job and his happy life. And to make matters worse, an alien entity bent on eating all life's creatures decided to make Eddie its host. Luckily, Eddie at least got some pretty cool superpowers out of the deal, and with a little time, he was able to convert Venom from a villain to an anti-hero to an almost full-fledged superhero with super strength, super speed, and the ability to mutate his body into a form to suit its needs. So beware of spoilers, and without further ado, let's get started. Alright, what do we need to make the lethal protector? Well, first off, even without Venom's assistance, Eddie was a great reporter, uncovering the truth that others would rather keep hidden. In the comics, Eddie was played up as a character who got to where he was through deception and manipulation, while in the newest movie, Eddie was simply a journalist who pushed too far in trying to uncover the truth. Regardless, we need to at least have the ability to get pictures for the newspaper. Next, before the symbiote bonded with Eddie, it actually spent a brief stint bonded with Spider-Man, and learned how to copy many of his abilities, namely his mobility options like wall crawling and web slinging. The only difference is where Spider-Man shoots his webs, Venom is actually able to mutate his body to accomplish these tasks. And finally, we need the basic Marvel superhero package. That means your run-of-the-mill average super strength, super durability, and super speed combo. No matter how advanced tech in the Marvel universe is, somehow it always ends up devolving into a fist fight. When picking Venom's ancestry, we immediately run into one small problem. The character we know as Venom is actually two entities: Eddie Brock, who is very much a human, and the Venom symbiote, which doesn't exactly have a one-to-one ancestry in either Pathfinder or Starfinder. To rectify this, we're going to go with custom mixed ancestry, presented in Player Core 1, to mix the human ancestry with the Barthu ancestry from the Starfinder playtest. And if using Starfinder content in an otherwise Pathfinder character build annoys you, well, what did you expect? The Venom symbiote is literally an alien from another world, so my hands are kinda tied here. Anyways, the custom mixed ancestry basically gives human stats minus an heritage option, in exchange for being able to pick up Barathu feats later in the build. This means our ancestry is going to look pretty much like normal: 8 hit points, a boost to strength and intelligence, and no attribute flaw. For our background, before Eddie was a crime-eating superhero, he was an everyone-eating supervillain. But before that, he worked as a photographer for the Daily Bugle. We're going to use that to pick up the printer background. This background gives us a boost to dexterity and intelligence, as well as training in society and scribing lore. And the multilingual skill feat helps us out if we need to go overseas on an investigation or just translate a bank statement that's not in English. For our class, the Investigator gives us a pretty good representation for the Eddie side of Venom, complete with tools for uncovering the city's criminal underbelly. This class gives us 8 plus con hit points per level, meaning while we aren't as durable as some of the other crime fighters of New York, we can still definitely hold our own in our fist fight. We get expert in perception, which is probably the number one skill we need for a reporter, as well as both the reflex and will saves. Anyone trying to get inside of our head will quickly find that you have more than enough external influences. We also get training and fortitude saves, which doesn't really fit the build. Venom is definitely one of the more durable Marvel characters. Okay, maybe not durable when you compare him to the other space Marvel fighters, but he can more than hold his own when you compare him to the Earth heroes. For our skills, we get training in society, 1 skill based off our methodology, and 4 plus our intelligence skills of our choice. Get ready for another build that gets far too many skill increases. We get training in simple and martial weapons, and up to light armor, neither of which we'll need to use for this build, because the symbiote gives us all the offensive and defensive options that we'll need. Moving on to skills, and like I said earlier, there are a lot of them. We get legendary in acrobatics and athletics, because the symbiote trained with Spider-Man before meeting us. Deception, because Eddie needed no help from a space alien to know how to lie. Intimidation is because, well, yeah. And stealth, because we are one of the only characters in the Marvel Universe that can sneak past Peter's spider sense. We also get master in society, because it's literally our job to keep up with current events. And expert in skills like diplomacy, for convincing someone to give us evidence, and thievery, for, well, when diplomacy doesn't work. And finally, we get training in whatever you want. Seriously, maybe your take on Venom is a botanist or something, and you get the nature skill. You can have more than enough skill increases to go around by the end of this build. At level 1, we're going to be a little bit more Eddie Brock than Venom. We're immediately going to pick up the interrogation methodology to help us with the interviews with the pointed question action, making it a bit easier to get a straight answer from someone who tries to dodge our questions. We also get Pursue a Lead, which lets us pick up a case and gives us a bonus on skill checks we make in furtherance of that case. We can even clue in our allies, transferring that bonus to them, and Devise a Stratagem will help us out in case things go violent. When we devise a stratagem, we can roll a dice to see what we would get if we attack a specific target that turn, and we can use this knowledge to decide if attacking is worth it or not. We will get something that pairs exceptionally well with this next level, but for now, just know that if we hit a target that we've devised a stratagem, we do an extra number of precision damage based off of our level. For our class feat, we're going to pick up Underworld Investigator, giving us training in the Underworld lore skill and letting us use our Pursue a Lead bonus on thievery checks, such as stealing clues from foes. So far, we've mostly been just your normal everyday investigator, who has a penchant for getting into a little bit of trouble. But all that changes with our Ancestry feat. The Dermal Spikes Ancestry feat lets us grow spikes to help punish foes who try to hold us down. These spines let us use our reaction to deal 1d4 plus our strength modifier of piercing damage to any foe who grapples us. And at level 2, we become fully bonded with the Venom symbiote with the Osteli Host dedication. This dedication allows us to form a symbiotic relationship with a creature, giving us access to 2 abilities. Spit Ambient Magic lets us impale a foe up to 30 feet away with a tendril, dealing 1d6 piercing damage with a basic reflex save. And Repel Ambient Magic lets us grow some sort of shield that protects us from magical attacks, giving us a +1 circumstance bonus to our AC and saving throws against magical attacks. Spit Ambient Magic works particularly well with Devise a Stratagem, because we can roll to see what our attack would be, and if we like that result, we simply attack. But if not, we spit Ambient Magic, which requires a reflex save instead of an attack roll, meaning opponents can still fail even if we rolled bad on our stratagem. The symbiote also gives us your run-of-the-mill super strength, letting us take the powerful leap skill feat to keep up with Spider-Man's web-swinging shenanigans in a rooftop chase scene. At level 3, we get the toughness general feat, giving us a couple more hit points and a bit more survivability should we hit 0 hit points. We also get the skillful lessons, representing what Eddie brings to this partnership. Eyes of the City lets you either use diplomacy or society to track down a criminal, rather than looking for footprints with survival. And finally, Keen Recollection lets you add your level to checks to recall knowledge, even when you're not trained in them. At level 4, we begin to pick up some of Venom's regeneration abilities, with the Soothing Pulse feat. This lets us take 2 actions to regain 2d4 hit points, or more as we level up. We even get to make an immediate check to recover from any persistent damage we are currently being affected by. And the Slippery Prey skill feat helps us negate the penalty we would normally take on repeated attempts to escape a grapple. Between this and the Dermal Spikes feat from level 1, enemies who try to grapple us are in for a rude awakening. At level 5, we accomplish some true body horror with the Fluid Anatomy Ancestry feat, giving us a reaction we can take whenever we're critically hit by an attack, to take damage as if the target normally hit us rather than critically succeeded. This does come at the cost of making us off guard to the target for the rest of the turn. Venom can take a shotgun blast to the chest at point blank, so we can't have him going down to an unlucky crit. We also get Intimidating Prowess, letting us scare our foes with our super strength as well as our quippy one-liners, that we totally stole from Peter Parker anyway, and Weapon Expertise, boosting our Fortitude proficiency to Master. Level 6 Osteli Host can pick up Propulsive Mutation, extending the reach of our Spit Ambient Magic attack to 60 feet rather than 30. We can now successfully impale our foes at the same range they could hit us with a short bow for a single action. Add on to that Quick Jump so that we can get quickly around the battlefield and enemies won't be safe from us no matter where they are. At level 7, we increase our speed a little bit more with the Fleet feat, boosting our movement speed by 5 feet, as well as the Confabulator skill feat, letting us fly to targets who have already caught us in a previous fly with a reduced penalty. Vigilant Senses at this level boosts our Perception proficiency to Master, letting us hunt down our prey even in the dead of night, and Weapon Specialization gives us a slight increase to damage with attacks that we are at least expert in. This doesn't increase our tendril damage, unfortunately, so we're going to need to pick up a different way to help with that. At level 8, we pick up something else that'll help with that. With the Deadly Mutation class feat, increases our Spit Ambient Magic damage to D8s rather than D6s, as well as dealing persistent bleed damage on our critical failure. We also get the Quick Climb skill feat, boosting our successes to critical successes on any attempts we make to climb. Eventually, this will give us a full-fledged climb speed, but until then, we'll have to rely on our athletics checks to keep up with the wall crawler. At level 9, we get our first human ancestry feat with Multi-Talented, to pick up the Mage's Dedication, giving us 2 cantrips from the arcane spell list. Shield lets us increase our AC against non-magical attacks, as well as giving us a reaction that we can use to shield block to lower incoming damage, while Gouging Claw gives us a way to deal damage in melee without having to rely on our fist strikes with our measly D4 damage dice. We also get Fortitude expertise and Investigator expertise at this level, increasing our proficiency with both will saves and class DC to Expert. Basic martial magic at level 10 nets us a huge increase in our usefulness of our fists with the Arcane Fist class feat. This increases our damage to D6s, as well as letting us use them to attack lethally without the -2 bonus, and we can apply the critical specialization whenever we critically hit with them. We also get the Kip Up skill feat, letting us stand up from prone as a free action that does not provoke reactions. At level 11, we pick up the Die Hard feat. Venom has survived everything from bullets to falling to earth in an exploding spaceship to people in the apartment next door playing loud music. This level also nets us the Sow Rumor skill feat from the Skillful Lesson. You worked for J. Jonah Jameson. Spreading unfounded rumors about Spider-Man was kind of his whole thing. We also get Dogged Will, making us a master at will saves, and counting all successful will saves as critical successes, and Deductive Improvisation, letting us attempt any skill check even if we don't have the required proficiency in it, as if our character doesn't have proficiency in everything he needed anyways. Level 12 lets us pick up the Hybrid Study spell, Home Among the Mulberry Leaves. It took all the way up to level 12, but now we finally have a way to replicate Spider-Man's webs, shooting a tendril of goo to web up opponents, making them immobilized on a success, as well as making them clumsy or enfeebled on a critical success. And as long as we're emulating Spider-Man, we might as well pick up the Combat Climber skill feat, letting us keep our hands free even while climbing up skyscrapers. We even get to avoid being off guard while climbing. At level 13, we can pick up Molecular Modification, granting us resistance to a damage type equal to half our level. Really, any of these damage types fit the character, except for Fire or Sonic, but I went with Slashing because, well, a lot of weapons do slashing damage. Yeah, sometimes I'm min-max, sue me. We also get Incredible Senses at this level, bumping up our Perception proficiency to Legendary, and Light Armor expertise and Weapon Master, boosting our will saves and society checks to Trained and Legendary, respectively. We also get Spell Striker. This class feat, at level 14, lets us combine the damage of our Gouging Claw with the reviability of our Devised Stratagem to deal an extremely accurate and extremely devastating attack, which we can combine with Foil Senses skill feat at this level to sneak up on Spider-Man and take him out in a single blow. At level 15, we get Swift Sneak, allowing us to sneak around at our full movement speed, and Biographical Eye to let Eddie, do his job. Greater Weapon Specialization also kicks in at this level, giving us yet another damage boost. And finally, Savvy Reflexes boost our reflex saves to Master, as well as increasing all successful reflex saves as critical successes. At level 16, we pick up Cellular Reconstruction. Being a Marvel superhero is hard. Sometimes, no matter how strong you are, you end up at death's door, and you need your symbiote to take over without any input from you, and that's exactly what this feat lets us do. This feat gives us a reaction that we can use whenever we're dying to restore a number of hit points equal to your level, and on future turns, you can regain hit points equal to half your level at the beginning of each turn after that. This will get us back in the game, but honestly at this point, if a creature can't do at least 16 points of damage in a single action, it's probably not what brought you down in the first place, so it might be a good time to consider running. We also get Cloud Jump. Venom can't fly, but this feat offers us the next best thing, able to jump to take out flying heroes that may try to stop you. Eddie has been a great host up until now, but we're level 17, and it's understandable if you want to bond with someone else for a change. The Barathu Ancestry feat combined lets us do just that. With this feat, you can combine with an adjacent willing creature. While combined, that creature becomes large and benefits from greater cover as you protect them from harm. However, perfect symbiosis is rare, and any host other than Eddie can only last about 10 minutes. We also get 2 more toys to play with at this level. Terrified Retreat can send enemies running for their mommies, and Greater Dogged Will increases our will saves up to Legendary, as well as preventing us from ever critically failing a will save again. Finally, at level 18, we pick up an Attack of Opportunity from the Mage's feat list. Level 18 might seem a little late for something that fighters start the game with at level 1, and that's because, it is. But now, at least you finally have some way to punish those cowards who ran away from you, rather than staying to face their death like a real man. We also get Wall Jump. It helps us jump up walls. At level 19, we're going to pick up the general feat Incredible Initiative, reflecting the fact that Eddie and Venom are two different creatures who are always able to cover each other's back. And we also get the skillful lesson, Scared to Death. Okay, maybe this skillful lesson isn't something that Eddie brings to the table by himself, but it's still something that Venom should definitely have access to. We also get Light Armor Mastery at this level, and Master Detective. Light Armor Mastery boosts our athletics proficiency, while Master Detective ensures that we never again miss an obvious clue that the DM planted in a room just for us. And finally, at level 20, we're going to pick up the Advanced Martial Magic Force Fang. This lets us get a little bit of extra consistent damage every turn, as well as giving us an extra focus point. And finally, for our skill feat, we're going to pick up Tumbling Theft, allowing us to steal from foes in the same action that we use to tumble to their space. Alright, that's the build. Now it's time to see how it works in combat. First off, this is definitely a hyper-offensive build, with Divisor stratagem making sure we never have to miss an actual attack roll, mixed with our spell striking, allowing us to get our strategic strike damage, as well as our gouging claw heightened to a 10th rank. We're going to be doing some massive damage. And unlike some of the hyper-aggressive builds that we do here, we actually have plenty to contribute outside of battle as well. With 5 different legendary skill proficiencies and more than enough trained proficiencies, we can do something in just about any encounter. And finally, enemies who see how hyper-aggressive we are might try to get away from us, but with our mobility options, that's next to impossible. We have a 30-foot move speed, a climb speed, and the ability to jump over difficult terrain in a single bound. Enemies are not getting away from us. For cons, however, we're a little bit reliant on our stratagems. With the remaster, investigators can always use stratagems as a free action as long as it's against an opponent that can help them with their case, but that means we could start to have trouble whenever we run into random encounters. Also, speaking of our stratagems, they only work on 1 strike per turn, and when you combine them with Spell Strike, if we do choose to attack on a turn, we probably have to commit almost our entire turn to attacking. And finally, well, resource management is going to be a little bit hard for us. We only have 2 cantrips from the major spell list, and we can only spell strike once per minute. Meaning if foes survive that super amazing spell strike that we do, well, all of our other attacks are not going to be as super amazing. Alright, that's the build. Thank you guys so much for watching, even as we have cut back on content output. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us in the algorithm. And take a look over at the community tab for our poll to see which Full Metal Alchemist character we're going to build at the end of the month.